Now here's an area that anybody that's done cockroach control work in restaurants or commercial kitchens has had to deal with, the dishwashing area. And there's one place here that's perfect for the Avert dry flowable cockroach bait. Now what I'm going to do is use the crack and crevice extension tube. Let me point out that I don't believe there is any cockroach bait in the market today that is more attractive to German cockroaches than this bait right here. German cockroaches and the other species love it. Matter of fact, they can't wait to get to it. You put a little out in and amongst a group of cockroaches and it's literally seconds before they're feeding on the material. Matter of fact, there's almost a feeding frenzy. Now let's look at how we apply this material back in here. Right around this drain line, we'll stick the extension tube in there and give it a nice puff. We'll angle it this way and puff again. Now remember, you're treating a void in there. And in fact, there may be insulation in that wall, so you want to make sure you get enough of the material there. But I wouldn't put any more than that. Notice that I kept it horizontal. Again, try to avoid this because we don't want that powder flowing all down in here so you get solid powder out of there. It's wasteful. You don't need to do it. Let's go look at another area where we can use our Avert dry flowable bait in a food handling area. Now here's another area. This one's somewhat structural. This is a window frame where it joins up with the bottom of the splash plate on the floor. Right in here we have an opening to a void, and here we have one going back inside this window framing. These are ideal locations for Avert dry flowable cockroach bait. Puff or two into the void area, and we'll slide up in here into the crack, come back this way into this crack, and puff. Now we've treated that area. Remember, Avert dry flowable cockroach bait has a useful field life of about 1 year. In other words, the bait I just put in there will still be effective a year from now. Talk about residual, that's great. Another thing to remember, if you apply Avert dry flowable correctly, you should get from 200 to 300 bait placements just like this. If it's done correctly, if you overtreat, you're not going to get that. So you should be thinking 30-gram tube, 200 to 300 bait placements. Let's look at another location to treat. Here's another great place to use your Avert dry flowable bait. Why is this crack so great? Well, here's the problem. I don't know how deep this crack is. It goes way back up in there. This piece of equipment is about 4 foot wide. Those roaches could be anywhere under there. Now, if you were using a gel bait, the best you could do is put a little dab right here within an inch or so of this opening, maybe 2 inches of the opening. But what I want is that bait material floated back in there. Avert dry flowable is perfect for that. And those deep cracks, puff it back in there. Get it floating all the way back, deeply into that crack, so that the roaches that might be 2 or 3 feet in there come in contact with that bait. Let's find another place where we can use our Avert dry flowable. Here's another location. Underneath this cooler unit, way down here at floor level, there's a crack under the edge of this aluminum cowling. Perfect. Insert the extension tip in there and treat along the floor. This is a great place for German cockroaches to hide out. It's particularly useful for nymphs, tiny little thin cracks. Always make sure you get in places like that. Any of this decorative molding on here, the deeper it is, the more likely it's going to be a better place for the Avert dry flowable and not the gel bait formulation. Now, a wonderful thing about Avert dry flowable cockroach bait is that it isn't only labeled for use in food handling areas. It can also be used in other locations.
For more information on Avert cockroach bait, please visit epestsupply.com or call us toll free at 1-877-500-0011.